we are live, and we are back with a great session at the International M.I.C.E Showcase, second edition. This session will talk about the resumption of trade shows in a physical format. We all know that the trade shows have started to resume across the world. We have with us a very distinguished panel of speakers, and they are going to share their expertise with us. They are going to share their insights with us about what have been the developments, what have been the trends about returning to the trade shows and getting back to the normal. I'd like to welcome our distinguished panelists. I'd like to welcome Mr. Kai Hettendorf, the MD and CEO of UFI, the Global Association of Exhibition Industry. I would like to welcome Mr. Chi Chuan. He is the Executive Director, Exhibitions and Conferences, Experience Development Group at Singapore Tourism Board. I'd like to welcome Mr. Yogesh Mudras, who is the Managing Director at Informa Markets in India. And I'd like to welcome Mr. Michael Krupp. He is the General Manager at Shanghai New International Expo Center. Thank you so much for joining us today and sparing your valuable time. And with this, I'd like to kick off this session. I'd like to invite Mr. Yogesh Mudras first on the session, on the panel. Mr. Mudras, Informa Markets has taken lead in India in resuming the physical format of trade shows post the pandemic. The pandemic is still on, but then it's the new normal now. How has been this coming back to the good old days of physical format? You have organized Pharmalitica in Hyderabad. You have organized Renewable Energy Expo in Greater Noida. So what have been the trends you have observed? What have been the key takeaways after returning back to the old normal?
So thanks, Raghu, and inviting me to this session. It's a very interesting session because I know I think it's a new normal, and I think it's not going to be good anymore. It will be a normal to share with better, and it will take a point to start doing exhibitions back. In fact, for us, it's a restart 2.0.
Mr. Mudra, sorry to interrupt you. I think there is a lag in your voice, or maybe is it only my connection? Kai, can you hear Mr. Mudras properly?
Not really, no.
Not really. So, Mr. Mudras, can you turn off your virtual background? I think because I also had to switch it off because I think that slows down the connectivity a little bit. I also put it on off mode. You can just at the bottom of your screen.
Is that better now?
Yes. Now.
Okay,
yes.
Great.
Yes.
Thank you. So I think I would say that it's been a great pleasure to kickstarting events for us as Info Markets in India. I would say that the events that you mentioned have been Restart 2.0. We in fact started even during the pandemic when the first wave was over, when we had we started with Sate, and now again we thought of making it happen. I think it's been a different experience, I must say, because returning to exhibitions has been tough. But what we are seeing are clearly some green shoots of face-to-face events returning in a very strong manner. As Info Markets in India, we ourselves have delivered about 15 live events in this last 6 months or so, be it exhibitions, conferences, bar summits, trainings, multiple events. But I think what we are seeing is every event which we are delivering is showing a greater response than the previous one. With this vaccination program being embedded now extensively with over 900 million vaccinations given in our country, people are feeling more free and are feeling more confident to attend the shows. So over this last 18 months, I think what was clearly missing was this personal connect. But I think this or some sense of digital fatigue, I might say. So I think that is what is coming out. People are coming out in good numbers. I think the response from exhibitors that we are getting is clearly that they were not expecting so many footfalls to turn up. I think that's a pleasing sign. But of course, it's not been easy to get exhibitors also to the show, really, because I think the exhibitors are taking their time to confirm. They are not sure whether the exhibitions are first of all going to take place. So I think it starts from that, convincing your exhibitors to take participation in the show. They are, some of them are coming in a restricted format. Some of them are having that confidence and coming in a full format. So, but I think that is going to take time. The exhibitions are not going to be the same scale as we have seen in 2019, but it will take maybe at least a year to get there. But having said that, I think it's important to make a start. Our visitors are also very happy. I think the visitors, attendees who came in, the response that we have got has been about it's a good thing that you made us start in a safe and sound manner with Informa. We have our own Informa All Secure standards in which we have implemented our show. So I think it's been exciting last couple of months. In fact, as you said, we have just exhibited renewable, and over this weekend we are having a big jewelry fair coming up in Delhi on Saturday. So I think we are taking all precautions. So for me, I think that's been a good sign. I think one thing which I might tell you is that the trend which I'm observing is the move towards hybrid event, because and the acceptability of the hybrid events. The exhibitors want to take part, but some of them don't want to come physically. So I think it's very important we keep them engaged by creating these hybrid opportunities where the exhibitors have come in. Also, some visitors won't want to travel. So I think it's a great way of engaging them and growing the profile of your shows. So these are some initial trends I would like to say to this panel, which I've observed for this last couple of months.
Thank you for sharing your insights, Mr. Mudras. And Michael, you have been leading the road to recovery in your region. Please tell us what have been the trends that you have observed in this, new normal. You can say the 2.0 of the trade show recovery.
Roger, first, I want to why worldwide who reopened up 4 or 5 months with all states, with the high, with the organizers to
Michael, your voice is getting distorted. Sorry to interrupt you, Michael. Michael, I suggest I think you are on your iPhone, because there is the platform has a little issues in China. So probably can you switch off your video, and I think that would help.
All right. Is it?
Yes.
Better now?
We can see your profile. Yeah.
Okay, much better. So let me just quickly repeat the roller coaster. Last year, SNIEC was one of the first venues opened, and then the rest of China, and now the world is step by step reopening. That sounds like good news, and it was good news. The situation today is that China is reopening in many cities like Beijing, Guangzhou, Shenzhen, and so on. However, Shanghai at the moment is closed, and it's closed for the last 2 months. And we more or less had 1 year from June last year to July, almost 1 full year of show after show without any problem. But now, especially in Shanghai, I would think the government is nervous because 2 things are happening. One is the China Import Fair, which is highly important. Xi Jinping will come personally. So, of course, the city should be clean, let's say, and nothing should happen. So that is a little bit our disaster at the moment, only in Shanghai, because, let me say, government is a little bit over nervous or very nervous not to let any cases happen. And I just had this morning a meeting with the Shanghai governor, of course, not a detailed discussion, but I just made it clear that the exhibition industry is important for every city in the world in terms of economic impact. In our case here in Shanghai, it's a level of 12-1. I don't know about other cities in the world. 12-1 is quite high, I know that. And of course, it's not only us, it's the hotel, the traveling, the restaurants, you name it, shopping centers, and so on. So my hope is that with the import fair, starting in 5 weeks from now, also Shanghai will follow the rest of China and some parts of the world. And I also hope, and that's one more thing, I also hope the Olympic Winter Games in Beijing in February will not influence our business. I can only say I hope, because sometimes in China things are changing from one day to the other. So we all have to do our best to follow safety protocols, wear face masks, and do everything that the virus cannot go stronger. Thank you.
Thank you, Michael. Thank you for those insights. Now, next, I'd like to move to Mr. Chi Chua. And Mr. Chi, I would like to ask, as your role involves overseeing of healthy development of the calendar of trade shows in Singapore, what role do you see the trade show industry playing in the development of these industry clusters? Do you feel that trade shows would remain relevant in the new normal?
Thanks, Rakesh. I hope you guys can hear me loud and clear.
Yes.
Yes, trade shows is really important for Singapore's economy. It is not just a vibrant contribution to the economy itself. It contributes to about close to 3.8 billion to our economy pre-COVID, and it supports over 30,000 jobs locally. But I would like to say it's almost like it is the tip of the iceberg for the entire sector. Singapore's economy is made up of different sectors, from financial services, advanced manufacturing, chemical, you name it. And trade shows and exhibitions are basically platforms to allow the international exchange of goods, ideas, and innovations. And these are very important things for the vibrancy of the entire economy as a whole. So we do not see ourselves just as a one economic activity, but we see it as a accumulation of reopening for many different sectors that then therefore allows this healthy exchange, because Singapore is not a big economy in of by itself, and we cannot be cut off from the rest of the world. So having trade shows resuming allows us to play that central role that we have been doing before, and therefore it is really, really important for Singapore per se. But we always say don't waste a good crisis. So COVID-19 has it's given the industry some time to innovate, right? And I think off the cuff, we have seen industry taking on hybrid. I know Kai will say hybrid can't last. I think it's a good in between. and frankly, I do feel that having that hybrid component allow us to reach out to new segments of the market that otherwise may not take place if it is just physical face-to-face. So it allows new market development, new experimentation. And I think it may not be a only component of a trade show, but it could be an exploratory, a pilot component that comes out of it. And I think that's a good thing if we can harness it correctly, because I think there's a lot of challenges trying to monetize virtual content, because you've got the likes of YouTube and likes, they are all offering things for free. But if it is something to help you build a new pipeline for attendance building, for new exhibitors, or just to be able to get that content out so that you can convert this into real physical presence, the next iteration, I think it's a worthwhile investment. And Singapore is slowly opening up. In fact, next week, I'm going to see Kai in Singapore. We're going to start with a whole series of trade shows in Q4, and hoping that all these new protocols will allow us to leapfrog to bigger shows in 2022. And that's what we are really looking forward to.
Wonderful. Thanks for sharing your insights, Mr. Chua. And now I'd like to move to the global man, Mr. Kai Hattendorf. Kai, what do you feel about the global scenario of this returning to the trade shows in the new normal?
Well, first of all, good morning from Europe and Sichuan. I look forward to seeing you next week, and congratulations again on your new assignment. I also see a number of friends in the audience. So Chris from Montgomery, Asia, good morning. Ravi, always good to see you. Caught part of your session earlier. Nidhi, great job at IEA, and everyone I failed to mention now. Great to have you all here virtually again. So coming after India, China, and Singapore, you've heard 3 cases of where the industry is reopening and what the obstacles are, with governments taking different approaches, whereas the industry is out with a clear and concise message that it is us, as we build the meeting places and the marketplaces for every industry, for every sector. And we are the fastest of our fast track for economic recovery. And Michael, thanks for sharing that with the Shanghai governor. Yogesh, thanks for sharing that with the community in India. I know Michael Duck spoke to the High Commissioner in Hong Kong a few hours ago on that topic. Sichuan, Singapore is pushing ahead with reopening and trial and pilot schemes, and will bring a big group to Singapore next week to relay the very same message. Now, as the shows reopen, we see 2 things. Number one, we see that it's predominantly the small and medium enterprises that are so eager to return to the show floor because it is their main sales channel. and they come to the show. They, in almost all cases, have hugely successful shows and leave with their order books full. And there's a reason why trade shows are called trade shows, because they facilitate trade. And for all these companies, this is a game changer as they come out of the pandemic. They're able to return to the show floor, to the trade show floor, to trade. At the same time, Shishran, I'm always super skeptic about the term hybrid because it's so lazy if we don't describe what it is. But I'm fully with you that our industry's future growth will not just be based, or return will be based partly to selling square meters again, but the growth going forward will be based on us evolving around the opportunities and the learnings that we have with digital. And I am super bullish for the sector. I say we will be back to where we were in 2019 globally by 2024. Some markets will go back faster, some markets will take longer, depending on the situation in the respective markets. But that future growth that will make our sector become much larger than it was after 2024, will to a large degree be driven by us activating the potential of online next to the potential of on-site, face-to-face. And that's the conversation about changing our mindset from doing something pre-show or post-show to doing something all year round. And that's a challenge for organizers like Informa, likewise for venues, likewise for associations. How can we keep the community engaged all year round? How can we serve especially the 80-85% small and medium enterprises all year round outside of the show floor by helping them to connect with buyers and sellers likewise? This is where the sweet spot lies going forward. One thing, and we will release that in a week or two, I reviewed the final data set for the next stage of our Global Recovery Insights 2 days ago, where we asked trade show exhibitors and trade show visitors about their experiences after 1 year of digital only and with their experience about returning to the show floor. And you know that we track this with a Net Promoter Score, which is a measure of would you recommend this event, this activity to someone else? And we know we have work to do because the Net Promoter Score for many events on average is not particularly high. But I was shocked to see that the Net Promoter Score for digital-only events from companies exhibiting and people attending is minus 51. This is the worst NPS I have ever seen anywhere. And there is a clear message, and that is that a digital trade show does not work. We've had this over and over again. It's called the virtual trade show. We had that when the internet came up. We had that at the age of Second Life. We had that various times, and the kind of business case zombie of the virtual trade show keeps going around. But a Net Promoter Score of minus 51 for a solely digital trade show experience tells a very, very clear story that digital only is for sure not the future, and that is backed by everything we see everywhere around the world, that people want to get back to face-to-face, and face-to-face will be and remain to be the main driver of business relationships. And that's before we get into Michael's point about every euro or yuan or renminbi or dollar spent at a trade show generates these economic effects of factor 8, 10, 12, depending on where you are in the world for the economy where the event takes place.
Absolutely, absolutely. Very good points, Kai, and you gave us some great insights about the virtual negative score that came out of the survey. I'd like to go to Mr. Yogesh Mudras, and Mr. Mudras, you mentioned about reimposing confidence as the biggest element in returning back to trade shows in the new normal. So, as a leading organizer, how have you managed to reimpose confidence in your participants? And this is both pre-show and what has been their feedback post-show. Are they convinced that yes, trade shows are safe to return? Please unmute yourself. Please unmute yourself.
Can you hear me now? Okay, so what I would like to say is I think it starts with the toughest part of getting the exhibitors back, because they are the ones who have got used to doing business without exhibitions for last 1.5 years. But but they all understand the power of exhibitions, and uh, we have done a lot of marketing initiatives in this part pre-event, being doing buyer seller meets, getting them in smaller formats in terms of conferences, getting them engaged in some form or the other. Also giving them multiple options to participate. So, for example, some of the large exhibitors who couldn't come into the show in that same large scale, probably creating them some specific customized packages for them to come in, what meets their expectations. So I think there has been a lot of work which has gone to behind them, and despite that, I think we have seen many exhibitors, some of the big international exhibitors are taking a stance that they are not participating in any exhibitions in 2021. Some of them have not even opened their offices yet. So I think that those are the things you are anyways definitely going to miss out. But what my thinking and our thinking at Inform Markets here is that it's making a show happen is going to be very critical. Once they see, as we say, the proof of the pudding is in eating. So I think once we make the show happen, and it will be for every vertical. So though I do a show in pharma, and if I want to show it to for my show in renewable energy, the exhibitors would want to still go and experience in a show which happens for that vertical. So I think every vertical will have its own life cycle of confidence building, and you'll have to execute a show per se to show them with those standards. So for us, as I said, Informa secure standards have come in very handy, which we do promote a lot, because it really builds a lot of confidence that we are, once they come to the show, that there is going to be a lot of health and safety standards which will be seen, which will help them transact the business. So all those things, that life cycle building is going to be very critical. So once you execute one show, I think that confidence will come back. So all the exhibitors who have missed out in the shows which we have taken done till now, in fact, they have said that, oh, they should have been here. I think that is what I hear. So that's one positive takeaway for me, that they feel that they've missed out those editions which we have done. So I think that's a positive thing. But I'm sure they're going to come back in 2022 when we re-execute those shows in the following year. So I think for me, I think it's just a 2020, when the first edition, whatever you do is going to be a confidence building edition for that show. So I think let's not be disheartened. Making a show happen, getting those footfalls in, getting those meetings happen, networking happen, showing those innovations is going to be the key.
But do you think, Mr. Mudras, that since you are a leading organizer as well as you sit on the executive committee of IEIA, it is important for us as an industry to make more advocacy campaigns to reach out to the stakeholders that yes, trade shows are safe to return, like Informa is publicizing its all secure protocols. So similarly, as an industry, we should encourage all the organizers to promote this, that we are a safe industry.
Absolutely. I think IIA has done enough in this last 12 months or so. I think the amount of campaigns they have done in to educate the people, educate the audiences, and even our exhibitor community. I think lots been done on this platform, but I think nothing is enough. I think we'll have to all work in together, be it organizers, be it service providers, be it venues. I think all are working together at this stage. I think, and that's the joy that we are seeing. In fact, if any trade show happens, everybody is happy in the industry. I think that is what we are all coming in together. I think this pandemic has taught us to be together. I think that is something unique, and everybody is enjoying the success of each other. So I think that is something which is coming out, and I'm sure. I think in times to come, when they are seeing these trade shows happening, we have seen some large trade shows. We have IIJS, which has happened recently. So I think it speaks volumes of how the business is going to happen in the future. Of course, as Kai did mention, that we have to innovate, we have to do it in a bit of a different manner. But of course, trade shows are going to be here.
Absolutely. And Michael, you mentioned that you had a call with the mayor also. You also mentioned that situation in China remains fluid. One day it's something, someday it is another. But I'd like to know from you, how encouraging is the government there regarding the resumption of trade shows? What is their perspective on the significance of our industry?
Well, Raghav, actually, I did not have a call. I had a personal face-to-face meeting, which is a different story. And because I can speak Chinese, I was able to explain that a bit better than through a translator. Now, before I answer your question, I just want to support what we just briefly discussed. 6, 7, 8 years ago, just when I joined SNIEC, I made it very clear that time for the industry, for SNIEC, in order to remain on the top, number one, number two, whatever, there was one clear goal, and that was service that time. So my colleagues know I created a logo which I called SSS, 3S, service, service, service. Now, 8 years later, with Corona and COVID, I told my team last year, nothing changed. We still have the 3S, but now S stands for safety and security. So, because what we need to make everybody return face to face or maybe hybrid is the confidence in the event, in the venue, in the transportation, in the city, that when they travel, that they will be safe. So that's something for me is a top priority we have to work on. And that is the bridge for me for your question, Raghav. How does the government see it? Well, I mean, they are government because they are smart. So they know how much in Shanghai, in Singapore, in New York, in wherever, Mumbai, wherever, an exhibition is for not the exhibition industry, but for the whole people working in that city, plus maybe related industries. So the attitude is, of course, we need exhibition. Now, every country have different systems, and we all know China basically as a socialist, capitalist hybrid, if I like to use this word. And the point is here, I don't want to say the problem, the point is here that the flexibility is quite limited because the government has at this moment, a zero tolerance strategy in terms of cases of COVID. And that is great. And I think that was the reason why last year China opened up so, let's say, quickly compared with the rest of the world. And whenever anything happened, and you probably know these stories, when I think it was in Qingdao last year, 3 people got infected, and the city of 9 million people was basically tested and closed over the course of 3 or 4 weeks. Now imagine this in Germany or in America or any other cities or countries in the world. So it's really hard to say, Raghav. The attitude is, yes, of course, we support you, we need you guys, but the decision here in China is, and like anywhere else in the world, is in the end done by government. And as we are a face-to-face industry, it's, how to say, at the moment they are hesitant, and especially here in Shanghai. So the only way to keep that up is to keep the pressure up from our side in a nice way, in a professional way. But we will not, and I know Kai, nobody from us is doing that, will stop reminding all the, let's say, decision makers, government people, how important we are. I know everybody say that, but we know that we really are. Right, Kai? Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. I think
We
have
would never
Kai
lie to anyone, Michael. We would never lie to anyone.
Never.
Absolutely. So OFI as a body can always assist you in your efforts. I'd like to go to Mr. Chuang, and you were also the acting chief technology officer. You were also the acting chief technology officer at the Singapore Tourism Board prior to this role. Please share with us Singapore's experience in the implementation of technology and innovation in trade shows, and how do you feel the model is evolving out there in that region?
Thank you, Rakesh. I think the one of the things that is the most difficult to change is actually mindset. And what we do see over this period of time is that mindset change in terms of being able to be receptive to new ideas and new innovation is astronomical. I mean, we have been hammering at this for many years. And I can tell you it's almost like squeezing water out of rock when the business is good. No one wants to mend the tap when it's not broke. But this has given us an opportunity to introduce new ideas, new possibilities to stakeholders, and they are very receptive. And I say, again, this is really a very good opportunity for us to, how would I put it? Can we engineer the serendipity that comes out of a trade show into something that can be replicated and duplicated? I think there's a lot of data and insights waiting to be uncovered from that. I mean, the trade has done tremendously well all these years. It is an art. But how can we digitalize this in such a way that interactions, communications can be engineered in a more constructive fashion? I think there's a lot of headroom there that we can play with. The other part is actually about even how do we get ourselves out of the pandemic in terms of safety. This is definitely something got to do with in terms of how do we apply technology, collect data, make scientific-based assessment and calculated moves that are data backed. And I think we have partnered with our Agency for Science, Technology and Research Agency to work out how do we then measure things like airflow, the formite rate, air transmission, so that we can prove to people that trade shows done properly are safe and they do not spread if certain protocols are piloted, tested, and these are then safe areas for us to push through, even if during a pandemic, right? I think it's worthwhile to note that earlier, together with WUFI and PCMA, we came up with a white paper called Reimagining Business Events through COVID-19 and beyond. And basically, it took stock of how this transformation has taken place. And really, I think when you look at that, the transformation can come through business model, delegate experience, and even coming down to the area of talent and capabilities. I don't think I will spend and hoard the next 15 minutes talking through the paper. It's available online. Go check it out. And we really think that some of these findings will not just benefit us as a destination, but really for the industry as a whole. The key crux to transformation is really about private and public partnership. And this is where, from a Singapore Tourism Board standpoint, we really do want to play an active role in helping our industry members innovate and adopt the best technology. So we have come up with grants. We, in fact, have turned the entire third floor of the Singapore Tourism Board into an incubation cube, so to speak, where industries can come forth, put in new ideas. We help to pilot them. We are also putting in our accelerator program where we bring forth different companies all over the world with new solutions that we can pilot and adopt in the technology onto this third floor. So when you guys are in town, feel free to come over here and check it out. And it's really an exciting place. So we think that we are going off this COVID with a new sense of momentum towards innovation and technology adoption. And I'm really excited to see how far this thing can go.
Absolutely. Well said. And Kai, you have a little different approach towards the use of technology. As you rightly said, that how do we understand the term hybrid is important. And if we are using it to engage and communicate with our community throughout the year, then of course it makes sense. Kai, as a part of WUFI, you are in touch with all the organizers across the globe. What comments and observations have they shared with you on the resumption of their particular respective trade shows?
I think this ties in neatly to the comments made previously by everyone on this panel. They have shared that we have proven that shows can run safely. There's data out in the US that says it's 6 times safer to be on a trade show floor than it is to go to your local supermarket. And that's backed by the data from many shows. And this means no disrespect to a supermarket in North America, right? It means just simply the trade show floors are even safer. Don't want to get this wrong by our colleagues in the supermarket business. Across Europe, we had shows with more than 400,000 people attending the motor show in Munich, close to 200,000 people at the caravan show in Düsseldorf. Shows have started all across Europe, in France and Spain and in the UK. The Middle East opens the World Expo later this week. There are testing and tracing regimes, so we have proven we can run events safely. Now, the second step in that reopening is, and that's a strong message from all the show directors, all the portfolio managers, and all the top managements I speak with, people are having good shows. As I already said, the exhibitors are leaving happy because they make good business. And they're happy to share that they make good business. So, and we shall sing their songs, we shall praise their success, and we shall make them visible as an industry to say, this is the marketplace, and the marketplace works, and you're successful if you come to the marketplace, and we keep you safe. So, and that will bring us to step 3, which is the international collaboration. So we have shows working again across Asia, we have shows working in China. where the government doesn't close them down because of local cases, but generally we have shows running again in India. We have to reconnect these markets. And I'm happy to say that now transatlantic travel between Europe and the US will resume in early November, and likewise from Asia into the US. We have travel facilitated through digital solutions. So Shishwan, I'm perfectly with you on that, with the EU vaccination certificates and the QR codes moving freely across Europe. And a strong message we will take to Singapore next week is to call on all the industry to be united in calling on the governments to reopen travel across the region, to align protocols, to make it easy and possible to move from somewhere to Singapore and back without unnecessary quarantines if you're fully vaccinated. To come up with a framework that facilitates the reopening of travel. That's the third and next step we need to go beyond local, national, regional events to really get back to being that global and connected industry that we are, to drive that global interconnected trade. There's a lot of advocacy work still to be done in that respect, and we are rubbing shoulders with IATA and other trade bodies on doing that. But we're off to an excellent start. We're running the shows and we have happy customers. What more can you want?
Absolutely. We are off to a very happy start, and we've had a wonderful discussion so far. Now we'll move to our last round where we'll have one question for each of the panelists. And I'll start with Mr. Yogesh. Mr. Yogesh, one strong message that you would like to give to the industry, what they can look up to, what they can strive for in the coming times.
I think my only message would be, I think it's already happening. We are seeing a lot of organizers coming out and putting events. I think just be strong, put events in a safe and safe manner. I think the exhibitors would come, have the confidence in the events. I think somebody had told me once that exhibitions are nobody needs really exhibition, but once exhibitions happen, everybody comes in. So I think have the belief in that and go ahead and do your events in a good manner. I think we'll come back to the bigger events, large format events in coming years, but put events in this year. Very important.
Well, thank you, Mr. Mudras. And Michael, if I can invite you to share a message that you would like to give to the industry for the new times.
Well, I'm very convinced that we will come back to the old times with the change that the new formats definitely will be more digital, will be more safe for the people on the floor, and will be more entertaining. Besides the corona, already before corona, we had a clear trend from B2B to B2C. And I think, forget about corona for a moment, this trend is especially here in Asia and more especially in China, absolutely the new trend, or is already there. And we will see B2B shows with elements of MICE events, meetings, conferences. And this is for me something also we as SNIEC as a venue, we will upgrade in the direction of digitization.
Okay, you mean to say that you will have some technical upgrades in your venue to implement digital events, also hybrid events, some kind of a special rooms in your venue to host those kind of sessions?
The answer is yes, but not necessarily for hybrid events. We will have more digital, let me say, tools or toys like AI, AR, VR, whatever you name, to offer to our customers the chance to do something online during the show, maybe like streamlining or like a showroom. So we even think about formats to have parts of SNIEC open like a permanent showroom. So a company could come and rent, let's say, one hall for 1 year or 1 month and almost use it like a film studio for streamlining or automotive industry, F&B, you name it. So that might be also something we will see in the future. And to able to do that, you need the venue, the location to be digitally upgraded with AR, AI, streamlining, whatever you need.
Absolutely. Very well said. And Mr. Chuan, if I can invite you to share your message for the industry, what do you want to share with the industry and coming ahead, what they can look up to?
I think basically the pathway to reopening is not just an effort of one country, one venue, one EO. It's a collective effort by everyone in the ecosystem. And every show basically successfully done, safely conducted, sets the stage for the next one to commence. So basically, it's a collective effort, and I think there's a lot of room for us to share best practices, so that as an industry, we come out of this bouncing back to the previous heights and even more. And I think basically, to that end, technology can definitely do a great role in helping to make some of this data available for us to share amongst the industry. I mean, I've learned so much from Kai, I learned so much from Michael and Mr. Yogesh about the different aspects of show, the value add and all that. And I think such platforms are important, and it's all the more important now that we share this knowledge together as an industry, because I think the world is an oyster. I think it really depends on the industry to work together. And really, we are very excited about the future coming forth. I mean, even during this period of time, new shows are coming out to Singapore. We are signing various MOUs with different event organizers to bring new shows that are 2022, 2023, some even 2024. I mean, this goes to show that actually there is a demand, and Asia is definitely where the action is, sitting at the confluence of the world's three largest countries, China, India, and Indonesia. We are very confident that from a Singapore's perspective, we will be able to service the region in the best way possible, and we all have to work together to get this. And I'm really excited going forward. Yeah.
Wonderful, wonderful. And may I now invite Mr. Kai Hattendorf to share his closing remarks and his message to the industry.
Oh, well, everybody watching this knows that we are a fantastic industry because we've been capable to rise to every challenge in the past because of the mindset of the people working in this industry. So it is this mindset that will drive our evolution. We will welcome new people, new skills into the industry, and those of us who turn a little gray by now will help them to find their footing, and we will add the experience that we have. And together, this means that this industry will keep evolving and reinventing itself, and this is always done through the centuries, because it's a super old business model. So I am and remain super optimistic about this. We are here to connect people for growth of societies, economies, and to have fun doing it, and to see the success of our customers. And this won't change. And if we as an industry get this message across, then there's no better industry to work in and to work with and to work for, because I know that it's a big issue right now that people are afraid we will struggle to find talent. So it's a joint message that we are the great industry we are because we are open to people with talent, with ideas, and we give them an opportunity to grow in the industry and to live their dreams. And if we do that, everything will be wonderful going forward.
Absolutely, Kai. We are a wonderful industry, and I'd like to confirm from you, like Michael said, there's a 12-to-1 ratio in Shanghai, especially when it comes to trade shows. If Michael can clarify that statement, what does it relate to and what's its significance? And then you can give us a global outlook on that. What is the general trend globally? Michael?
Yeah, I was actually surprised myself when the government, I think 4 or 5 years ago, they made that statement. It's not I did a calculation. It was an official statement from MOFCOM, also from the Ministry of Commerce 4 or 5 years ago. So whether it's 11 or 12, I think that's not really important. So it's based on the industry and related industry, which we all know, exhibition, traveling, F&B, hotels, and shopping, basically. That is how the government is calculating the impact, the direct impact of, in this case, for SNIEC, to not for the whole industry. It's basically this. Maybe let me repeat that. This is for SNIEC, not for the other exhibition venues in Shanghai. And that is a very high factor. And that's why our position also in Shanghai and in China is relatively strong.
Yes, very rightly said. So that's the kind of economic impact we have. It may not be 10 or 11 in every region of the world, but it's somewhere at least 7 to 8 times what we have in the literature flowing across different markets. So I would like to thank all our distinguished panelists who have taken out time from their busy schedule. I'd like to thank Mr. Po Chi Chua from Singapore Tourism Board. I'd like to thank Mr. Michael Krupp from SNIAC. I'd like to thank Mr. Yogesh Mudras from Informa Markets in India. And finally, I would like to thank Mr. Kai Hattendorf from UFI, who have joined this session today. Thank you all, gentlemen.
My pleasure. Thank you. All the best.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Thank you. Thank you.
Bye.
Stay safe. Bye.